In 2026, the world witnessed a historic shift in the global power structure. After decades of tension, the protective layer surrounding the high-ranking leadership of a major South American nation finally dissolved. This wasn't just a political change. It was a masterclass in systemic enforcement. The recent events involving the transfer of power illustrate how global organizations operate when a regime is no longer compatible with the international system. This is how systems work. When you see a system like this crumble, it rarely begins with a bang. It starts with a whisper, a subtle shift in numbers on a screen. The collapse began with a financial mechanism. When the international legal and banking system applies extreme pressure, the internal loyalty of any structure begins to fade. Think of it like this: every relationship, every alliance, every promise has a price tag. We are analyzing what is known as the incentive strategy, the point where the value of cooperation far exceeds the value of loyalty. In this environment, the most protected individuals, the ones surrounded by layers of security, suddenly become the most vulnerable assets. Their bodyguards, their financial advisors, their closest allies, they're all presented with a choice. On one side, there's a failing regime with dwindling resources and a bleak future. On the other, there's a global system offering security, wealth, and a clean slate. The choice becomes brutally simple. This is the cold, hard reality of the global financial apparatus. It doesn't use bullets when spreadsheets are more effective. It targets the very glue that holds a power structure together: trust. Once that's gone, the entire edifice is ready to fall. Now, let's talk about the next step. Before a single asset was moved, before any physical intervention occurred, the target went dark. The operation relied on a total technological silence. This is a tactic called electronic decapitation. Imagine trying to command an army, or even just call for help, but every phone, every radio, every internet connection is dead. Not just jammed, but completely neutralized. This isn't science fiction. It's the reality of modern warfare. By targeting the signal, the system ensured that no orders could be given and no defense could be organized. The leadership was effectively blinded and gagged, isolated in a digital black hole while the world moved around them. This proves a critical lesson for the modern era. If you do not control your data, you do not control your territory. Sovereignty is no longer just about borders on a map. It's about control over the flow of information. When you lose that, you've already lost the game. The leaders were trapped, not by walls, but by an absence of ones and zeros. So how is all of this legally possible? How can a global system reach inside a sovereign nation and dismantle its leadership without triggering a world war? The answer lies in the global legal framework, a complex web of treaties, resolutions, and international laws that has been built over decades. This framework allows for unique interventions when a state is classified as a systemic risk. Think of it as a global immune response. When a country's actions threaten the stability of the entire international order through financial disruption, regional destabilization, or humanitarian crisis, it can be reclassified. This classification overrides traditional boundaries and activates a specialized protocol of extraction and transition. The transition we are seeing is the result of years of meticulous legal preparation. Lawyers and diplomats laid the groundwork long before any agents were deployed. They built a case, brick by legal brick, until the justification was unassailable. The gears of the world move slowly, almost invisibly, but they are relentless when the final decision is made. This wasn't an invasion. It was the enforcement of a globally ratified legal verdict. The message sent in 2026 is crystal clear, and it's intended for every isolated or defiant system on the planet. No structure is permanent. No fortress is impenetrable when the global balance of interests changes. alliances shift, economic priorities evolve, and what was once tolerated can quickly become unacceptable. The realignment of power we've just witnessed is a powerful warning. The system always finds a way to restore its preferred order. It will use finance, technology, and law in concert to achieve its goals. Understanding these mechanics is no longer optional. It's essential. Subscribe to How Systems Work to understand the next phase of the global chessboard. Knowledge is your only defense.